Hello world! We have moved into the Taurus constellation, very modernly called Taurus season. It spans from around the 20th of April to around the 20th of May. The Taurus is an earth sign, signifying a sense of practicality, caution, and the material world. They are defined as fixed, which points to a resistance to change, a great willpower, and being kind of inflexible. This combines into a stubborn personality. If a Taurus had set themselves a goal, it's hard, if not impossible, to change their mind. They are said to be generally very calm and relaxed, disliking to be in the middle of a fight. However, have they first been angered, they will not spare the source of the anger. The ruling celestial body of Taurus is Venus, speaking to a strong appreciation of everything beautiful, art, music, nature, just to name a few. So let me know if any of this applies to any Taurus in your life. I know my grandmother was a Taurus, and to be honest, it kind of fits fairly well. To capture this, I found a face reference who looks very determined, with eyes set on a very specific goal, and I just gave her a tiny bit of a smirk. I think it would look really cute and really add to the strength of her character. Giving her a fluffy mohawk where her bangs kind of resembles the tufts of hair between the horns of bulls, and I started out thinking I wanted to make her dark blonde, but looking at the picture after the first layer, I kind of realized that the color I want was the one I wanted to give to Leo instead. This golden blonde ish looks. So instead, I looked back to the character I wanted to portray and mixed in some oranges and reds into the blonde hair color. So it kind of gave her this reddish blonde look. And I think it fits her a whole lot more. Looking back, I kind of wish I'd given her a little bit of a freckle. But yeah, too late. It's fine. I'm gonna save that for another time. The horns are probably one of the things about this painting I love the most. I feel like I got a lot of texture while still being very smooth in the application of color, and I just wanted to point out that I actually think it turned out super nice. The way I got to that color was I took one of my darker browns and I mixed in a little bit of a desaturated dark blue, the one I use for shadows most often, and I feel like it gives this very very special kind of black gray-ish color that has a whole array of depth that you just really can't get with a proper black. For the skin color, I mixed in a bit of the lighter browns with a bit of orange and yellow, a tiny bit of red, and just a tiny hint of cobalt blue just to get the nuance just right. And with every layer, I mixed in a bit more brown or red or blue, always regarding what layer of shadow I was on. It's a bit hard to talk about, but it's mostly just a feeling of which color to mix into the skin layer to make the depth stand out a bit more. On the hair, as you see here, this color is the original blonde color, but with a bit of red mixed in, and I'm slowly mixing in more and more red of the, I would call it the warm red. the red that's more to the yellow side than the blue side. The lips is basically just the skin color with a bunch more red mixed into it. So it's also a red I am using for the cheeks and a bit of highlights on, the red parts of the face. Building up the layers of the lips is just a whole bunch of little strokes. It still didn't feel 3D, but all in all, I think it's some of the more nicely made lips I've been able to create. So in general, I'm very proud of how they turned out. But if you have any specific ideas of how I can give them more of a 3D look, more blues or stuff like that into the folds of the lips, please let me know. Also, a lot of these small lines in her skin is actually just the skin color with a lot of, I have this desaturated brown mixed into it, and it makes the lines blend in but still stand out. So the flowers I found for Taurus are poppies, and I actually got really excited when I found out it was those flowers because I love them. They are so dainty and pretty, and they can grow practically everywhere. And I remember when I was in school, we used to pluck the ones that still hadn't opened yet and peel off the caps, and the underdeveloped poppies underneath was some of the most soft textures. I can still feel it between my fingers now when thinking back on it. The thing I want to change in the poppies is that I started out with a fairly orangey red as the base layer, and then without even thinking for the next layer on top of that, I mixed in a whole lot of red. And I should have waited for a couple of layers before mixing in red, just to build up a really nice orangey undertone. But I didn't, and that's fine. It turned out alright. Another thing I'm gonna have to change for the next time I draw poppies, because I'm gonna do it again, I love them, is to, instead of just leaving the area with the seeds or the støvdrager, what are they called in English? I can't remember. The inside of the flower. Instead of stopping the shadow of the petals where that thing goes, I just push it all the way in, because then you don't get this harsh line on the outskirts of that area. I think I really like how the flowers turned out, and I really like how the capsules for the flowers, the undeveloped flowers, turned out. I don't really like how the leaf turned out, but that's mostly because I hadn't looked for a proper reference for those, so I wasn't really sure of how to put the veins in the leaf or where to put the shadows, but that's for another time. When I'm finished here, I might have to go and play around with some more poppies. Anyway, we're fastly onto the shadow layers, and as said earlier, this is basically just this very desaturated dark blue that I'm just watering down a fair bit and then putting on top of all the other layers so they blend in, but adds a lot of depth without doing much, really. So I'm just putting it on all the small areas where I want really deep shadows. Venus, the planet, I really had no idea what kind of Venus I want to portray, because you have the Venus with all the skies with the atmosphere, and that is a vastly different look to the actual planet underneath. But it ended up removing the atmosphere. Also, it's tied in really nicely with the warm colors of the painting, and had a hard time trying to create Venus. It's really hard. Try looking up Venus and yeah, do that. Tell me how that went. I may have to try again. I've become really happy with the look of using pencils, pencil crayons, what are they called? Colored pencils, well, also the other, whatever, for outlines and kind of the inking stage in some way. So, I don't know. It it it's really nice. I like the effects it kind of gives off. So, learning from last month, I put in the star sign after painting the planet, and it looks so much better. Even though I've made a lot of mistakes with the star sign, and I'm a bit upset about that. But it's okay. It's a difficult star sign. It's a difficult constellation to portray, and it's okay. It's fine. This is a learning experience. I'm allowed to make mistakes. The sign for Taurus, however, I'm very happy about. I think it turned out spot on and, I don't know, on point. So, just finishing up with the last small detail and peeling off. So that's the final painting. I hope you enjoyed coming along for the process, and let me know what you think of the final thing. And yeah, I guess that's it. Take care. Bye.